Well, this is all kinds of awesome. We are so excited to have here in studio, in the flesh, the author of Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. Also just happens to be the world's greatest bodybuilder, one of the greatest movie stars of all time, and the leader of the world's 6th largest economy back in the day, the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, here on the Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you.
Wow, look at this standing ovation. That's amazing.
Oh, I'll give
where
you
where do you get this audience from? It's like it's fantastic.
Full-on standing ovation.
Nice.
And by the way, you are a first in the history of our show. We're in year 10. Nobody's ever said, hey, that chair, what did you call it, a baby chair? Is that what you called it when you saw our chairs?
Yeah, so what happens is it's just psychological.
Yeah, okay.
That if I sit low, or it is a chair that leans back, which means comfortable chair, I lose energy.
We don't want that.
And so I know myself, if I sit up straight, then I keep my energy level.
Okay.
And so it's just a psychological thing. So whenever I see, a lot of times I do speeches and Q&As in front of huge audiences, and then just before I go out, they have to kind of rearrange the chairs because I just want a regular hotel chair, just some dining room chair or something. And they had this beautiful couch and a beautiful sofa and all that stuff. And I said, get rid of it. I fall asleep on that couch.
Well, we can't have that here.
No, God forbid. I mean, it's like
so you went and you took Chris Brockman's chair, my colleague across the way. You took his chair.
First for everything, Rich.
But it is, and by the way,
he was nice. He says, please take it.
That's right. Exactly.
What am I going to fight you? Absolutely not.
Got to tell you, he looks better in your chair. No offense.
There you have it.
Chair looks better under him. Does that make sense? So and I see again you're wearing. Is this an original governor's zip up?
This is the original governor's jacket.
Did you get one of those when you become governor, or did you have to?
No, I just got it made.
Huh,
I got it made all kinds of things with the governor's seal on it, and as a matter of fact, I got made, I think 5 or 6 of them, and the rest of them I auctioned off because they go for a lot of money. So I always raise a lot of money for after-school programs, and so we had just a month and a half, 2 months ago, we had a fundraiser at the house where we had a poker tournament, and so we raised around, $2.5 million with the poker tournament, and then we auction off items, and so we went up to $7 million this year for after-school programs. So these kids have a program after school after 3 o'clock, between 3 and 6. And one of the things that they auctioned off was one of those jackets, and it went for $50,000.
Jeez! And
I said to myself, well, it cost me $300 or $200, so now we auction it off for $50,000. I mean, so but it's really crazy, those auctions, because people come there for a lot of money, and they're very giving, so they're very generous. They know that this doesn't really have that value. Like, for instance, I auctioned off a humidor that looked kind of like the White House, and it auctioned off kind of like beautiful with 500 cigars inside.
Jeez.
And all the labels were presidential labels and stuff like. So really well thought out.
Yes.
I designed the whole thing and came up with the idea, and it sold for $250,000.
Whoa!
Wow!
So just to give you an idea, so we do this. I think about it throughout the whole year of what can we create that would be a great auction item. Sometimes we auction off dumbbells that someone gave me that has the Terminator face on it on the outside that I really don't need anymore. There's like 80-pound dumbbells. I mean, I don't use 80-pound dumbbells anymore. I go to 50 maybe if I'm lucky. But I mean, in any case, this is the kind of stuff that we do. And it's also one of the things I talk about in the book. To give something back to the community and to your country.
Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. So why write the book right now, Arnold?
It was a total fluke, because I started 10, 12 years ago doing commencement speeches, and I said to myself, I got to kind of teach kids something that they need to know, how to be more successful rather than just do a regular speech. And so I did at USC the commencement speech. And after that, the reaction was really great, which was kind of like, here are the 5 or 6 things that I wished I'd known. And I gave them the kind of the tools to success. And then I got a really positive reaction. And then other universities asked me to give speeches and commencement speeches. then I was asked to do motivational speeches. So all of a sudden I was on a speaking circuit doing motivational speeches. So I said to myself, this is the craziest thing. I never ever thought of myself as a motivational speaker or anything. And then publishers started getting in touch with me and saying, you should do a motivational book. And then my agent finally said, look, I think that we can really find a great publishing house that will understand the things that you're trying to accomplish and motivating people, helping them to be more successful, helping them to be happier with their progress in life in order in the direction they go and so on. And so let's go and find a good publishing house. And so we found Penguin in America and in England, and we made the deal.
And you made the deal. And it just seems like at this day and age too, Arnold, that, any help in trying to figure out how you can be part of something and the community can come together and be made better. It just seems like right now we need that more than ever, quite frankly.
Yes,
Arnold.
absolutely. But, it's really wild if you think about it, how many people are unhappy, how many people are angry because of the lack of success or because they're not really doing the things that they want to do in life. And so what I've always felt was that I was always happy. I was always happy with the job that I was doing. When I was training 5 hours a day for bodybuilding, I was happy because I knew what I'm shooting for. I knew that this is the goal. Here's my vision, to be Mr. Universe, to be the greatest bodybuilder of all time. And that's what I'm shooting for. So I was happy going to the gym and doing the sets and the reps and the weights and all of those kind of things, rather than kind of feeling, oh my God, another day of training. There was always a purpose there. So I feel like that if people wake up in the morning and there's a purpose, there's a reason, and there is, you're passionate about something that you're chasing, it makes life so much better and you are so much happier. Because so many people get up in the morning and they have no goal, they have nothing. So that's why you have 78% of the people in America hate their jobs. And I think this is just a miserable number if you think about it, because that's why people can't wait to retire. I mean, I do the opposite. I try to do everything I can not to retire, right? I mean, so that's because I'm happy with what I do. I'm happy with the acting. I was really happy when I was the governor of California and I was sitting up there in the Capitol and learning every day all the policy stuff and how to bring people together, how to negotiate, how to be inclusive, and how to get things done, and then how to sell this idea to the people of California and bring them in, and make them understand what we were trying to do in order. So it was so challenging. It was so much fun to represent 40 million people. Yeah. And it was the greatest job I've ever had.
Arnold Schwarzenegger here on the Rich Eisen Show. Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. It's a #1 New York Times bestseller already. I'm so excited for you to be here because I am such a fan and have been such a great fan of so much of what you've done. And what we do here on our program is we have a construct called Celebrity True or False, where we ask questions about your work and you tell us what's been written or what's been said is true or false, if you don't mind. Okay, and we have actually, this is, and hopefully you appreciate this production value. I think it's like a tentpole movie. Check it out right here. Here we go.
Celebrity True or False.
You can't handle the truth.
That's it. That's all it is right there. What do you think, Arnold? What do you think of our production value right there?
I don't even know how you can afford this stuff.
I know that.
I mean, this is that goes beyond Spielberg and all of this geniuses, Jim Cameron production. I mean,
I agree. It is a Cameron type production.
Yeah, it's like Avatar and Jaws all together in one.
I appreciate. I know you appreciate the finest stuff. So that's why I wanted to ask you.
But how do you do it?
Well, you know what? I just take it one segment at a time. Hope for the best. That sort of thing.
But you must have a great vision.
Oh, that's why I wear these glasses.
And this is why I talk about it as a first chapter in the book. Have a vision. So you have that vision.
Guys, do I have vision?
By
the way, I'm not. These are not yes men. Okay, they will tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh, absolutely. They're very honest kind of people.
I'm not surrounded by those.
Good vision.
Okay.
Arnold, Rich also has the schmay going for him.
Oh, good.
You know, he's got the schmay.
That's it.
I knew we were soul brothers.
All right, first up, celebrity true or false with Arnold Schwarzenegger in studio. All right, first up, true or false, Terminator producers originally wanted you to play the Kyle Reese role and O.J. Simpson is the Terminator. Is that true?
That's correct.
So
and when they met me, they felt like, oh, I think that this guy will be better as Terminator because he looks much more believable as a killing machine. They thought that O.J. didn't look like a killing machine, and so they passed on him and they asked me to play the Terminator.
And then the rest is history.
The rest is history, exactly.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, but now, of course, everyone in the studio system denies that this ever happened. They say, no, I never wanted O.J. And I never, there was no discussion about but Jim Cameron and we both know that is a fact.
What a huge moment, I think, in obviously movie history right there. True or false, the original "I'll be back" line in the Terminator was written as "I'll come back," and you had to convince James Cameron to change it.
Wrong.
Okay.
So Jim Cameron wrote "I'll be back," and I said to him, I don't like the way I sound when I say "I'll be back." I didn't quite understand the L thing.
Okay.
Being German speaking. And he said, well, just say the way it says, "I'll be back." And I said, well, I'd rather say, "I will be back." Sounds more machine-like. And he says, all right. He says, but I mean, are you the writer or am I the writer of the script? And he says, well, you're the writer. And he says, well, then don't tell me how to fucking write. He says, I don't tell you how to fucking act. He says, so let's just keep that going like that. He says, let's do 10 takes of "I'll be back," and you pick the one that you like, and that's the one that we do. And that's the one that we keep in the movie, and that's exactly what we did. But the interesting thing about it was, no matter how much we argued about this, which we had daily kind of talks like that, it was a line that no one thought would be ever repeated again.
Really?
Because no one thought this is going to be one of those lines that people will repeat. And so when the movie came out, I remember I was in New York, and a guy came up to me after the screening and says, "Oh, Arnold, I'm a big fan of yours. I love your bodybuilding career." He says, "Can you repeat the line, 'I'll be back'?" And I said, "I'll be back." And he says, No, the way you say it in the movie." And then I said, "I'll be back." He says, yeah. That's it. Oh my God. And he ran off. I mean, like a crazy guy, right? And then it happened again and again, and the next day again. And all of a sudden I said to myself, wow, this is kind of weird. So I called Jim Cameron. I said, this "I'll be back" line, I said, I think he was so right. I said, because it wouldn't have been that cool if I would have said, "I will be back," right? Yeah. And he said, no, I told it will work. And he says, but it's going to be the most repeated line, I think, in history. And it has become really one of the most repeated lines.
Yeah. And then who knew that you were drilling down on what's the right thing to say, what's not, and that you were handling one of the most famous lines in the history of movies. Unbelievable. Wow. All right. Another one, true or false, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you originally disliked the Terminator 2 script because your character didn't kill anybody.
I loved the script. I just didn't like my character because I said to myself, wait a minute. Are we now turning kind of liberal here?
Mm-hmm. I see.
What's going on here, politically speaking? I said that all of a sudden the Terminator becomes a softie and all that. And, politically correct because maybe action movies are going out or violence in the movies goes out or something like that. So there was all kinds of things that went through my mind.
Is that what it was? Do you think? Oh, okay.
It was not at all. It was brilliant writing by Jim Cameron. Because what he did was he put the twist in there that the Terminator comes back, but this time to protect, Sarah Connor and also her son. And so I was the protector, and so the kid says to me, he says, but you can't go around killing people. And then I say, I won't. And he says, you have to promise me. And I say, I swear I will not kill anyone. And so, so therefore I shoot people, but I don't kill them. I shoot them in the knee. There's right away, literally like a second later, there was a scene where the guard comes out of the guardhouse and they just take the gun, boom, boom, and he falls down in front of us. He says, "You told me that you're not going to do that." I said, "He will live," and then we move on. So I really don't kill anybody. So I was kind of shocked in the beginning, but then when he explained it to me, I was all in, and brilliant writing.
I have a few more of these, but I want to pause and it's about true or false or not. What is the movie you get the most that people say they love the most of your when they stop you or they meet you? Say, I love this movie. Is it the Terminator?
It depends of where I go.
Okay.
I could go to some place, and people will say, I love Kindergarten Cop.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite movie. Others will say they like Twins. With Danny DeVito and those. And then, of course, a lot of people say, Terminator 1, Terminator 2. Some of them say Predator. So it really depends. That's why I always have a difficult time when people say, what was your favorite movie you've ever done?
Oh, sure.
How do you pick that?
No, I wouldn't.
Between Twins and Terminator 2 and Predator and True Lies and all of those movies. I mean, it's crazy. So I just tell them, I said, look, there are movies that have been highly successful because of their success in the box office. And then there's movies that maybe were not as successful, but I had the greatest time doing them. So it really depends on which way you look at it. What is my favorite?
Well, you named a bunch of movies, but not my favorite of yours. The Running Man.
The Running Man
is my favorite movie of yours.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know how, is that a rarity that you get that, or you get that a lot? Or
Yeah, but I mean, because The Running Man, there used to be a time where people said to me, The Running Man is my favorite, but then it was outdone clearly with Terminator 2 and with True Lies and those movies. So, but in any case, I'm happy because now I've heard that they want to do a remake of Running Man. That's what I've heard. I've read that, yes. And so we will see what happens.
Do you have the unitard the Richards unitard to still wear it right now?
I would not be playing that same character.
Okay.
But I mean, nor am I interested in being in it.
Okay. I mean, but you give your blessing to the remake.
They can do whatever they want.
Okay, very good.
It's their project.
So I just love the movie. I thought it was, I've seen it a million times over. And, me being an NFL guy, do you have a Jim Brown story from the shoot at all?
Well, Jim Brown was fantastic on the set. And when he did the fight scenes and all that stuff, he didn't need any stunt people to double him.
I mean, he's like Dirty Dozen. Come on now, right? He's Jim Brown.
He's it.
Right.
I mean, the man is made out of steel.
No, he did not use a stunt double in The Running Man.
No. I mean, he just was doing the fight scenes. He was threw himself around, and he was, he's an extraordinary athlete, as you know.
Sure.
And so I think that's the advantage. But the same is also true, like with guys like Wilt Chamberlain. When I did Conan #2 with him,
that's right.
There was no stunt guy. He was 7'2". I mean, it's crazy. And there were no stunt guys for me either, because no one at that point, at that time, was that muscular. Now, of course, there is a lot of stunt people that are very muscular, and there's a lot of actors that are very muscular. So this whole thing caught really on, and everyone now is working out. But in those days, this was a rarity.
Yeah, and then put up the photograph, Mike Hoskins. Let's just check this one out, too. I mean, look at that picture.
Yeah, so this is
Andre the Giant, you and Wilt Chamberlain.
I mean, look at it. I weighed 200. I weighed at that point 235 pounds, but it looked like a midget. I looked like the Danny DeVito amongst those guys. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was Andre like?
Andre the Giant, he was there wrestling.
Yeah.
So he was in Mexico City. We were filming in Mexico City.
Yeah.
And so he was wrestling. And so Wilt and I would go to his wrestling matches. Yeah. So we would go to his wrestling matches. And then after that, Andre would take me out for dinner. And he would take me to this spectacular Mexican restaurant, and we had a wonderful, meal. And then afterwards, I pulled up my wallet and I wanted to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, no, I pay. So I said, no, Andre, I mean, look, this is so unbelievable that you got me in to see you wrestle. You got us the front row seats and everything like that. So let me do my share. I'm paying. He says, no, I pay. I said, no, I'm insisting. He grabs me like this, and he lifts me up like a little kid, and he puts me on top of a cabinet of some credenza up there, and I'm sitting up there, and he then goes and pays the bill.
He's put you on a shelf like an elf?
Exactly. It was absolutely hilarious, I tell you that. But I mean, it shows you, his hands were just like 3 times the size of my hands, and he just grabbed me like nothing. And just while he was talking, he was lifting me up. So this was a really, really powerful guy.
All right, 3 last ones for you. Arnold Schwarzenegger, celebrity, true or false? True or false, you turned down the role of John McClane in Die Hard?
I couldn't do the film because of another obligation that I had. So I already was booked for that time when they wanted to shoot the movie, so I couldn't do it.
So, but they reached out to you to do it?
In the beginning, well, because Joel Silver,
yes,
who was the producer, was the producer also of Commando and of Predator.
Yes.
A spectacular producer.
Yes.
I mean, he was really, really good. And so, of course, I wanted to work with him again, but it just somehow didn't work out. And he had to go and start shooting the film. So, therefore, it didn't work out.
Okay, 2 more. True or false? While filming Twins, you had inadvertently smoked a cigar spiked with marijuana given to you by Danny DeVito. Is that true?
That's true.
What happened? He spiked it and handed it to you as a gag?
Well, he did to me what I normally do to people. So he just turned it around, and that son of a bitch got me to really fall for it. You know, he says, Arnold, I make some pasta for lunch. And he makes really good pasta. Okay, he's really into the cooking.
Sure.
And I said, okay. He says, come to my trailer and we have lunch. And then so he made the lunch and then he served it outside. We were sitting outside his motorhome, and we were doing. He says, now he says, I have some cheesecake. Oh, Italian cheesecake, it's fantastic. And so he came out with the cheesecake and then with the espresso, you know, with the finger lifted out, the little finger, the way they do in Europe, the way they serve these little cups, 1 finger out, and this is how you drink.
Yes.
And so he comes out with his coffee and he says, I drank it, and I said, oh, it's fantastic. He says, Schwarzenegger, you always give me good stogies. I am always a stingy bastard, he says. I never give you any stogies. I have a really good stogie. Monte Cristo #2. Look at this. Look at the shape of this, huh? You know, it's like a torpedo-shaped, kind of like Churchill used to smoke those.
Sure.
Number 2. So he knew that my saliva was running together. You know, kind of like, I was like looking for that, getting that cigar into my mouth as quickly as possible. And he says, let me light it for you. He says, let me cut it first. And he cut the end, and he did the whole treatment so it didn't look weird that he's on it. And then he put it in my mouth, and he says, okay, let me light it. He lit it like this. And then all of a sudden, I started smoking it. And then it was a really, really good cigar. So he says, how you feeling? I said, great, really great. We go back to the set to continue on the scene that we stopped before lunch, which was my close-up. And he was standing there next to the camera. And then all of a sudden he said his line, and I said, you say, can anyone help me here? What's the line? And then someone fed me the line, and it sounded like literally like I've never even heard that line before. It was not like kind of like I just had to be kind of reminded of something. Oh, so anyway, I said, hold it. I said, guys, there's something off here. I cannot remember the lines. I said, so can you give me... So the script supervisor comes to me and she says, well, here's the scene. You started this morning here. And I'm looking at the scene that we already did in the morning where we started, and I can't remember that either anymore. That I never even shot the scene.
Wow.
So it was just not in there. It was the craziest thing. So then I just said, okay, look, Danny, why don't you do the close-ups, and I'm on this side of the camera, and then hopefully this passes. And sure enough, after an hour it passed. So he did his close-ups, And then an hour later, then we turned around again, and all of a sudden I started remembering everything again. He came back and we did the scenes. And then, good stogie, Danny would say to me, good stogie, huh? So that's when I got it finally. That son of a gun, fooled me. Yeah.
Last one then. True or false, Arnold? You suffered broken fingers and multiple stitches on more than one occasion while filming Total Recall.
That's true. Yeah. So broken fingers from the fight scenes. I had my hand at the wrong place when the guy kicked me in the face. I tried to block it rather than to just take the hit, and so he broke my finger, and then a week later I was chasing the train at the train station, and the idea was I was running after the train as it was taking off, and I had the gun in the hand, and then I smashed the window, and so as I smashed the window, the guy sitting inside, the special effects guy, and he presses the button of the explosion so that as soon as I go and hit the window explodes and my hand can go through. Well, it didn't work. And so my hand went through actual glass, and then I cut everything down here.
Whoa.
And I was bleeding like crazy all the way down to the tendon. But I tell you something.
Yes.
We have certain kind of images of Mexico. Say, I don't want to be caught with this kind of injuries in the middle of the night. They had a doctor, a young doctor, he maybe was early 30s, on a set. That guy was so good. He stitched me up, he put a Band-Aid on it, and literally an hour later, I was chasing the train again and smashing into the window.
Wow.
And it was like really amazing how efficient those guys were down, the medical team and all that stuff, when there were injuries like that. Yeah.
Well, we could go on and on and on and on. We've hardly even scratched the surface of your filmography. So hopefully you'll come back and we'll do this again. We're all thrilled to have you here.
Well, it's great to be on it. And I love doing it because each one of those podcasts is different.
Yes.
And it's a really great way to promote the book.
Yeah.
Because, to me, the important thing is to keep the book alive, not to just promote it like a movie when it comes out,
yes,
but to make the book have legs. And it's like going up and up and up in the sales. So I'm ecstatic about it.
And you should be. Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Go get it where all books are sold, certainly in time for the holidays. A perfect gift for anybody that wants to make a difference. And
can I ask you a question?
I'm here for you, sir. Yes.
Okay, good. What is it that you enjoy the most about your podcast and about interviewing people?
I'd love to meet people. I really do. And that's why this show is also a radio show, because I love giving out the phone number and having people call in and get to meet them and get to chat. I used to be a stand-up comic in college. I'd always loved the back and forth. I love the reaction from people, right. And I don't get that, in a studio environment.
Right.
And I just love telling, I love hearing people tell stories. I love eliciting stories. I love making people feel comfortable. And I love all of that.
Yeah,
I really
you're
do.
Doing a great job with it.
Thank you.
And what I detected is that you're curious. And I think that in your job,
yes,
when you're curious, half of the battle is won. Because you're curious about people, you're curious about their stories, and that comes out when you do the interview.
Well, I'm honored for you to say that.
Much.
So thank you for saying that too. And one thing that I learned, over doing this for as long as I have, the toughest part is listening.
Yeah,
because I'm always thinking like, what's the next question, whatever.
That's one of my chapters in the book.
Listening.
Open your mind and shut your mouth. Exactly, yeah.
I know.
Because God gave us 2 ears and only 1 mouth, right? So let's listen twice as much. That's
for sure.
Idea, yeah.
Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. Again, where all books are sold. The great Arnold Schwarzenegger here on The Rich Eisen Show.
Thank you.
Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.